Well,
here's what we're going to do. We're going to take the last class, emotions and feelings, and we're going to insert them right there. And it's going to be just fine.
I was going to say, we can go through and review them all at some point too, like kind of stop and do like a big review and get them all just kind of in there.
The worst part is all the detailed information you give us. Okay. Anyway, let's carry on.
All right. It happens every once in a while. We're good. Actually, I think that's like maybe once the first time, maybe second time. But
yeah, it usually doesn't happen.
No, usually we're good. It's because we had the 4th of July week. That's why it threw us off.
Also, my kids are here and they were bugging me about going to get boba and I was distracted.
I love it. I love our kids. They're funny. So, let's go. Okay. So we were talking about our chill. So like chill, like cool, calm, like I'm calm, that kind of thing. Then we had frustrated. And my in here, I'll come a little closer. Like I'm like going in front of my face. And my visual for that is like when you're trying to get somewhere and you keep coming across a roadblock. Like I'm going forward. Oh, there's a roadblock. Here's another. Like that kind of frustrated where you get annoyed with that. Frustrated. Then the next one was serious. 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 Then we had funny. Then our silly. So like, I know it looks weird. So like my thumb is in front of my face and then I shake it. And so my thumb never it never goes like right up, my nose never goes near my like middle fingers. It just goes to stays in front of my thumb. Silly. And then our last one we had was ignore. Ignore. Good. Okay. So the next one is going to be these are less emotions, like I think I said. So we're really away from our emotions now. This one is annoy / bother. And so what it's going to be, so this one, what you're going to do is you're going to have your non-dominant sideways. Your dominant is going to be kind of up and you're going to put your dominant in the middle between the thumb and your pointer fingers. So this is interrupt. One motion, like forward, that's interrupt. Like you would do like, oh, I'm sorry to interrupt you. But annoying is annoying. It's you bouncing it. Annoying or bothering. So like, because, if you think about when we're saying, oh, and sometimes when people are saying like, they need to interrupt you, sometimes they'll say, oh, I'm sorry to bother you. I hate to annoy you about this. It's that same sort of emotion. So like interrupt, annoying. The next one we have is proud. So proud's going to almost start above your belly button, which I'm trying, but I can only guess how high. Your thumb is going to be upside down and you're going to go all the way up. It's almost like you're pulling up a zipper if you think about it. And this is proud. Okay. The next one is curious. So for curious, it's going to be like almost like the F motion, but instead of closed, like having your fingers closed all the way, you're going to have them slightly open. Try and find it. There we go. And you're going to put it right on like your little vocal box and you're going to go curious. Like I'm curious. You just kind of make it, shake it a little, move it a little circle, that kind of motion, just kind of little ones, curious. And then our next one is confused. So confused is kind of a hard one to show. It's just kind of an awkward setup, and that's just always how it's been. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show, how about this? I'm going to show you the sign first, and then I'm going to move myself around so you can see it. So the sign for confused is confused. So what I'm doing, is you have the hands in front and you just make them do like circular motions in front of your face. Yeah, confused. Like I'm confused. What? Most of the time it's kind of almost like at an angle. So like you still have one eye that can see the person. So you're not like full in their face like this. It's like, I'm confused. Mhm. The next one is mean. So mean is going to be, this is another one. Let me show it to you. Mean. Mean. So it's like their hands are open and they slowly go down into thumbs, like thumbs up. Mean. Ow. Be careful with that. Sometimes you can hit your fingers. I've done that multiple times. There are like 5 signs that if you are not careful with, you will hurt yourself. And I've done it. So that's one of them. And if I'm like, I'll be like, oh, they were so mean. And then like my knuckles, they'll do that. They'll like bump into each other. And it hurts, y'all. It hurts. It doesn't hurt, like doesn't painfully like break anything, but it hurts. So the next one is rude. So for rude, you're going to have this Y. Your thumb is going to be on the opposite corner of your mouth. And what you do is you're going to bring it across. Rude. 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 There's another way some people will sign rude, and I believe it's rude. But the problem with that one, the reason I don't always I don't use that one, is it's also very close to the sign for like naked. And yeah, so if you're trying to say you're being rude, you don't want to say you're being naked. Like it's weird. Like, so I always just stay with this one, rude. But I'm letting you know, just in case you see and you're like, I have no idea what it is. They very well be like, could be using the sign for naked, because not naked. Sorry, rude. This one, because it's like it's either on the palm up or back of your hand. But like I said, I don't use it often enough, and I just don't like risking it. I just rather be like, you know what, rude. We're done. Rude. So yeah. Let's see, 2, 4, 6. Okay, one more. The next one we have is nice. So the sign for nice is going to be like you have your dominant palm up, other dominant, yeah. And you go across, nice. Nice. That one actually can also be used for, like if you're talking about clean, like if you're talking about like the kitchen is like it's clean, because you'll say, oh, this is nice, like this is very clean kind of deal. So it can be used for that too. But the majority of it 95% of the time it means nice. Okay, so let's go back all the way to our annoy / bother, / interrupt. Yeah, annoy. And then we had our one, which was interrupt or bother. And this one, I will say, I do kind of push towards, like, if I'm talking, like there's 2 people talking and I want to bother, I'm like, I go like forward, like I'm joining in this conversation. That's kind of how I make that motion. Then we had proud. So proud, is our thumb upside down. Yep, proud, like our zipper jacket. I don't know why that makes sense with proud, but I just know that it looks like a zipper jacket. Then we had curious, curious, curious. Then confused, confused, confused. And it's almost like you're holding a ball. So like your palms should be facing each other. Yeah, circle. Yeah, confused. This motion above means clouds. I'll just add that there. I see what you mean now, Miss Katie, when you said this information I add in, because I was like, what do you mean? I realized I do just add in random signs. I'm like, oh wait, I can tie these.
It's the random signs and it's the connections that you make.
Yeah, I just realized when she said, I was like, what do you mean? I don't give that much info. I'm like, yes, I do. I talk a lot. I should remember that and just be like, yeah, because I just realized when I went cloud, I was like, yeah, that makes sense. So confused.
I am paying attention,
The next one is mean. 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 Ooh, mean. Then we have rude. 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 Rude.
Okay, we talk about this, but we mentioned this in other classes, but I don't think in this one. When you sign do you vocalize? And we talked about this a little bit because there are some signs that, like for who, that people would sometimes make the motion who. But then at other times you said you're not vocalizing while you're.
I go completely off, we're being honest. I can. So I'm gonna kind of explain this. So, and if I have already said this, I apologize. I'm gonna try not to go too long in it. If I haven't though, so what it is called when you sign and talk at the same time is called simcomming, which means signing and communication. And this is the sign for it. It's like an S and a C, simcomming, and you bounce it back and forth. That's actually really challenging to do. And so that's something that I always kind of recommend if you're practicing and you really want to get more like fluent with it and stuff, is not simcomming as much. I know I do it, like I'm doing it when I talk to you guys, and that's more just of a habit. It's not much so much as like I'm trying to simcom it. It's a habit that I can't break. But
Well, I just think it's important to differentiate that you're teaching it. But if you're using those signs with someone, you're not vocalizing.
Yes, no, you want to keep it, you want to kind of not move your mouth too much. It can be a distraction, and also it will actually make it harder for you to sign like ASL correctly. Like for example, like if I think I've talked to you about the difference of like I'm going to the store versus store me go, or like signing it in that signing exact English, that kind of structure. And if you're trying to say in English, I'm going to the store, but you're also trying to sign like store me go, it's like trying to put two sentences that are, even though they have the same meaning, you're trying to say two different sentences at the exact same time. The biggest comparison is saying, can you do two languages at once? Could you talk Spanish and English at the same time? No, you can't. And so signing ASL is very much that way as well, is that it's voicing off helps it better because you can focus more in that ASL. So yeah, simcomming is a challenge. And even like when you use it, it's not always the correct. One language is going to falter over the other. And mine go back and forth. Some days my ASL falters, some days my English falters, and I don't make sense to whoever I'm talking to. So it's just better to practice like not always voicing it if you can, hope that makes sense. Okay, so our last one of that little group was nice. And we had our nice. Nice. Okay, so we have like two more groups of words, and then I'll open it up for we can do a review again, but then we also leave it up for if you guys have any questions or anything. So I watch Buzz. Okay, the next one is smart. And so for smart, it's going to be again that middle finger. It's going to be the side of your forehead, and you're going to flick it forward. Smart. 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 Then we have cool, like they're awesome. That's a cool person. Like she's really cool. And it's going to be like, yeah, it's like I'm pinching, and you're going to put it next to your mouth, corner of your mouth, and you go cool, cool, cool. And this one also can be like, okay, if you're saying like, I know the younger generations will say, okay, bet, that's their way of saying cool. When I was a kid, I said cool. Oh, cool. Let's do that. Okay, cool. Now they're all like, okay, bet. But it's that same sort of meaning though, of like that cool, like that's cool. Then we have awkward. So awkward is kind of a fun one because you have two threes. You're gonna have them down, and then you go awkward. And it's just because it's such an awkward, like it's wonky, like almost like, it's like, oh, it was awkward. It did not go smooth, that kind of thing. Awkward. Then we have strange. So strange is going to be that C. You're going to kind of have it in front of your face, and you're going to go strange. Now, this we would not use if you're talking about a stranger, like someone you don't know. The reason I say that is because a lot of people think that they can go, oh, strange person. They'll do this like motion because this is a sign for person. So they'll go stranger. No. So the reason for that is because that actually is labeling this person you're talking about as someone who is strange. And so, and we call strangers, it's like, oh, well, that's a stranger. You just don't know them, it's not necessarily saying they're strange. You just don't know who they are versus saying, okay, you're a strange person. Like you're strange, that sort of thing. It's different. So I just wanted to add that there. The next one we have is surprised. So for surprise, what you're going to do is you're going to start, it's like, again, those like those little baby sharks. And you're going to go surprise, surprise, surprise. This is also wake up, surprise, wake up. So like if you're saying like, oh, I wake up at 6:30 or something like that. But if you're talking about being surprised, like, oh, surprise, surprise. Like I make my eyebrows just pop like, wow. Yeah. Surprise. All right. The next one is friendly. So if you're talking about someone being friendly, you go friendly. Friendly. It's like wiggling and they're just coming towards your face. Like, and this one's usually saying, okay, like, excuse me, she's very friendly, friendly. And if you're talking about like you're being really friendly, like, oh, friendly, like you kind of make that motion like towards them, friendly, but most of it's friendly. All right. The next one is going to be loyal. So loyal is going to be an L, and you're going to, with your dominant hand, you're going to go across. You're going to make a circular motion, like you're drawing a circle, and then put it on your, like across your chest. Loyal. What? Loyal. Loyal. Okay. I'm going to add this next one here between just to give it a bit of a differentiation because the next one's lazy, but very similar. And I don't want to confuse y'all. So I'm going to separate them real quick. So the next one is going to be helpful. And usually for helpful, what you do is you just help. You're going to do the motion for help, which is help. This is help. And like, have we talked about the sign for help? Okay. I'm going to add just a little bit of information. This is kind of for the sign for help, but also for a couple of other signs as well. Just go through this. So if you're talking about the sign for help, and instead of saying me help you, what you can do to basically like ixnay that is you can make the motion of it. So like, I'm here, I want to help you. So I'm having it close to me and I bring it towards you. And that's me saying I'm helping you. So I'm helping you. Do you need me to help you? That kind of thing. So if you're saying, do you need help? Be like, you need help? Like, need me to help you? That motion. So if you need help, what you would do is you'd start it away from you and bring it towards you. So help me, help me, help me. And that's just a nice way of not having to have all these extra signs. I help you. It's like,
okay. And then if you're in a group of people and you want someone's specific help, you point at that person.
yes. Okay. Like, for example, like let's pretend we're all kind of in a circle and I want little Timmy to help little Johnny over here. Like I want them to partner up or something like that. What I'll do is I'll start over with Timmy and I'm going to make the motion to Johnny. So that's me saying, you, Timmy, are going to help Johnny. And that's kind of how you tell people like to help. So like if you're in a big group and you're like, well, I need you to go help her. I'd be like, you help her, go help her, go help them. That motion. I know it's kind of a wonky one. It makes sense when you're in the action of it. Like when you're in a group of people and you're doing it because it visually shows you like it's showing this person needs to go over here to help this person. That is used for that. That's also can be used for like telling, like if I'm telling like, okay, go tell, you tell her. That is another one, or tell me, that sort of thing. There's a couple of signs that will do that where they use directions to help kind of describe it better. So that was helpful. So helpful is just help. Like she's helping a lot. Help. Sometimes tapping it. Either way, this one's not really one that I'm like, I've not seen it be like a big difference if you go help or help, like either way. So, all right, the last one, and I realized I was looking at next week's list, so this is actually our last one. Our last little cluster is the sign for lazy. So the sign for lazy is going to be that L, and you just tap it, lazy. So if y'all remember, loyal made this huge big circle and they tapped once. And then lazy is you just keep bouncing it. Like, I'm lazy. She's lazy. It's lazy. Lazy. All right. So let's go through those real quick. Excuse me. And then what we'll do is we'll go through all of them again, like slowly. And then I'll leave it up for if you guys have any questions. Sound good? Okay. So we had the first one we started with was smart. Smart. And I think of this one being like, it's so close, like it's near your brain. And as weird as it is, it's like a light bulb is going off. Don't know why my brain does that, but it does. Smart. Then we have cool. 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 Then awkward. Awkward. Then strange. 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 Then surprise. Oh, wow. I feel like I was about to say it wrong. Surprised. Surprise. Surprise. Then friendly. 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 Then loyal. Loyal. So think about loyal being it's one big circle, loyal, because it's got the O. Maybe think about making that O for loyal. Loyal. Then we had helpful or help. Help. And then lazy. Lazy. Okay, so let's not real quick, sorry. Let's go back to the beginning. What I'm going to do is I'm going to say the words and we'll sign them just together because I know like first time seeing them, it's like hard to catch them all. And then once we finish that, like I said, we'll have it open up for any questions or any things you guys have. So the very first word we had actually started with was a sign for feeling, just feeling or feel, either way. Then we had happy, happy, sad, mad, mad. We had the other mad, like angry. Then we had boiling, boiling. And then our explosion, like we're so mad. Oof. All right. Then we had scared, scared, scared. Then tired, tired, tired. I feel like my shoulders are not, my shoulders always drop. I make big motions with my shoulders when I'm tired, when I like do the sign for tired. I just don't, I feel like it's not showing it. Tired. Bored, bored, bored. Then we had embarrassed, embarrassed, embarrassed. Then we had calm, calm, calm. I think of yoga. I don't know if that makes click connections with anybody. I know I throw like random connections out, but I just think about like with yoga being like that sort of motion. That's what I think of. I don't know if that helps anybody, but I wanted to just throw it out there. Calm, Then excited, excited. And then chill, or like cool, chill. Then, yeah, you guys are in sync. I saw it. It was really funny. They were doing chill, but they were doing it like on beat together, and it was great. I loved it. We then had frustrated, frustrated, frustrated. Then serious, serious, serious. Then funny, funny, funny. Then silly, silly. Then we had ignore, ignore, ignore. I'm going to add real quick. This sign I probably use most of my day because when I was with third graders, because they constantly can't ignore each other. They're constantly tattling on each other. So I'll say, well, ignore them. And I had this one. Oh, bless him. I loved him. He was a tattler. Okay. I mean that nicely. Like, I love my kids and I know, like, but yes, he tattled a lot. And one of his problems was that he constantly would be like, Miss Gillian, they're not looking at the TV, or they're talking, or what, like they're not looking at this, or all this different stuff. And so I would tell him, well, you don't worry about that. Ignore them. You focus on yourself. Or he'd be like, they stuck their tongue out at me. I mean, like pages of different little things. And I would just tell him, ignore them. And he'd go, okay. And he'd look over to the kid and go, I ignore you. And he would literally say, I ignore you, ignore you. And the kid would be like, ah, and because she was dramatic. And so she would get all offended and be like, Miss John, you ignore me. And I was like, you don't. And I had to try to teach them. When I say ignore them, don't say anything to them. And they just couldn't get it. They would look at each other and go, I ignore you. I ignore you. Oh, they used to get so mad at each other on that. So that's just a little fun story about the sign for ignore. I use that one a lot. It was a lot of fun. All right. Our next one is annoy / bother. Annoying or annoy. And then we had our interrupt. Interrupts. Then we had proud. Proud. Then curious. Curious. Confused. Confused. Mean. 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 Then we had rude. 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 Ow, sorry, my toe popped. I hit it on the table and it popped and it startled me. Nice. 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 Then we had smart. 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 Then we had cool. 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 So like this one, it's like you're kind of doing like a little pinch, but it's not like a flat. I'd almost be like you're making like that circular shape with your pointer finger. Yeah. And then you go to the corner. Cool. Cool. Yeah. Cool. Then we have awkward. 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 Then strange. 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 Then surprised. Surprise. 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 Like the ED, that thing. Yeah. Want to make sure. Then we have friendly, 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 friendly. Then loyal, loyal, loyal. Helpful, helpful, helpful. And then lazy, lazy. Okay, so those were all the words we had. Do you guys have any questions, anything that you guys are wondering about or anything like that? Oh, he's typing. I was like, what? Let's see. Let's see. I wonder if you're able to, nope, I can't do that. Thought I could do something, but I couldn't. Let's see. Well, while he's typing, does anyone else have any other questions? Any questions or anything? Okay. And remember, it doesn't always have to be like if you have if you're curious about anything. Okay, so no, that's actually a really good question. Okay, so I don't know if everyone saw it, but he asked do they at my school do any of the kids talk? So at my school, even though it is called the Alabama School for the Deaf, we do actually provide, because our biggest thing is we want what's called the bilingual approach, and it's basically approaching it with that they know ASL and English, but we do also provide services that are for speech as well. We have speech therapists in our building. And so if they're like, because we have kids who have cochlear, like hearing aids, and I switched them. We have kids with hearing aids and we have kids with cochlear implants. So we accept all of our kids. And with that, we also provide for any kind of the kind of communications they need or they use. So we do actually have about a few amount of kids who talk. I had my first hard of hearing student this past year and he talked. And he talked a lot. He was this is time for like talking. It's like wiggling your hands. That's why I'm like, I make this motion like he just blah, 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 blah. This is what I'd say for blah, 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 because he just talked so much. So there are a lot of kids actually at my school that do talk. And what's kind of interesting is that because about half of my teachers in the elementary department are deaf, sometimes what they do is when they find out you're hearing, they will just voice to you more. They'll sign to me, but they'll still voice to me. And sometimes it sucks being a hearing teacher at the school because they're always like, Miss Gillian. And I'm like, what? Because they always yell to you. That they're not like, oh, hey, Miss Gillian. No, it is so loud. And I'm like, what's up? And I get it. And like, but they love to just talk. And there's a few that just talk all the time. So yeah, we have some people, we have some students who talk. We actually do have some students who actually, they'll come from like a public school where they've done only speech. They've only done speech. They haven't done any ASL. They don't know any sign. And they come into our school and they have to learn sign language because some of their peers, half their peers don't know it. Like can't speak, they can't hear. And then some of their teachers can't hear. So it's always a very interesting like dynamic to see, and especially like the socializing of it. It's amazing to see how fast kids will pick up on sign, especially for like usually more so for our kids who are like deaf but haven't had a lot of language. Once they get into our school and like they stay in the dorm, they like pick it up like crazy. Like they sign insane. I had one who really struggled this year. She really she started in with like nothing, like not a lot of sign. And when she joined, by the end of the year, she was telling stories and conversations. I mean, she built it. It was actually, I was like, oh, my heart, because I loved it. because she never stopped talking in my classroom. But apparently when she would go for speech or when she was anybody else, they're like, well, she uses like 2 words. And she was one that at the start of the year, her whole thing was pointing like, ooh, or she would act it out. And it was like, you knew she had that ability to have the language. She just didn't have it. And so they would tell me that like, oh, when she's in speech, she just, she might point a little, she may use like the word for like cat there or something like that. And I told the speech teacher, because I get along with the speech teacher. I was like, no. Come sit in my classroom. Watch her here. And then she started telling me, she's like, oh, Miss Gillian, this other student in the dorm was screaming so loud on the playground that the police came because they thought that there was something wrong. It was real embarrassing, y'all. It actually happened. And I was like, that was in the dorm, wasn't with me. Because they were playing, but they were screaming so loud, and we're like near houses. So they actually thought that someone was being hurt. That was fun. And most of the staff members that are in the dorm are deaf on that little rotation, so they couldn't hear her. But yeah, that did happen. And she's like, she's explaining away, she's acting and out, faces are like facial expressions. And the speech teacher is like jaw dropped because she'd never seen her talk that much. I said, get her in my classroom, sit here with her and just see. And like, she finally after that would start signing more, but it's so cool just watching how fast kids will just pick up on language. And yeah, I know I veered off from the talking, but like, I just love it. I think it's so cool. And like children, like development of children are so cool to me. And but I'll never forget that. And then afterwards, she would start signing more. And I have to tell the speech teacher, because she was still trying to, like, for example, I have stuffed animals in my classroom, like they have reading buddies they can pick. And one of them is a bat. And in speech, they were playing a game because it was a Friday afternoon. So they were practicing some different speech cards. And one of them was a picture of a bat. And my student went, oh, bat, Gillian classroom. And like she kind of was trying to describe it. And the speech teacher was like, what are you talking about with Gillian and a bat? Because she didn't describe like, well, no, she did. She went bat doll. She went doll bat. And it was funny because she was trying to figure out, she's like, what? And so she asked me and I went, oh yeah, I have a stuffed animal bat right over there. And we thought that was so cool how she was making like these different connections and was like, oh yeah. And it was cool. I could go on and on about it. I thought it was awesome. And I did go on and on. Oh, I'm sorry. It's after 7:30. Well, if anybody else has questions, save them, let us know, and we can go over them next Tuesday. For next Tuesday's class, I think we're going to be doing animals. And that one's a fun one as well. So yeah, that one will be exciting. So we'll do animals. And yeah, I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of y'all's week. And I will see you guys all next Tuesday. Bye, guys.
Hi, everybody.